Hey everybody, my name is Jen and welcome to today's Bringing the Zoo to You. We are so excited to tell you about a new Ambassador Adventure program we have starting in May of 2024, which, by the way, makes a great no wrapping Christmas present if you are still searching for that last minute gift. Now, one of the things a lot of people might wonder about is, what is an animal ambassador? Our team actually works with a really wide variety of animals, but for this program, we're gonna focus on some of our small mammals. And today we have Grace and Maggie hanging out with a prehensile-tailed porcupine named PJ.
As Jen mentioned, this is PJ. She is a prehensile-tailed porcupine. They are found in Brazil. They're also called a Brazilian porcupine, and they're really interesting species because they spend all their time up in the trees, and they have a lot of great adaptations that help them survive up in the tree. You can definitely tell she has this great long tail, which is helping her balance right now, but it can also wrap around branches, so that's why it's called a prehensile tail. And that means it's just a big word for grabbing or grasping. Would you like to help me train her and feed her?
I would love that.
All right, so we're feeding her some of her favorite food right now because we want to make this a really positive experience for her while she's out. In the wild, she eats a lot of leaves and bark and some tubers. So we're gonna give her some corn and sweet potato and some nuts. So you're gonna help me by just kind of becoming a positive part of her training session, and I'm gonna give you a piece of sweet potato, and if you could just hold it like this and you can hand it right over to her. Great, thank you so much. So you can see she uses her front paws to grab. She just has 4 toes, and then she can grab almost like we hold on to things. So that also helps her when she's climbing up in the trees. So if we're listening to, you can hear she's a very noisy eater. She is a species of rodent. So you might be familiar with like beavers and rats. Those are all other types of rodents. So she has those really, really big, sharp rodent teeth. And so she's gonna use those to chew on all of her diet items. So, of course, we know that she's got really sharp quills all over her body, and those help protect her. She cannot shoot her quills, but they do come off of her body. Just like when we brush our hair, her quills can fall off of her body. But we've been working with PJ for a very long time. She has a great relationship with us, so we can actually pet her. Would you like to interact with her in that way?
I would love to.
All right, so I'm going to demonstrate first. Pet. Very good. And so then I'll give her a little bit of reinforcement for that. So you can see her quills are laying down right now, so that means that she is happy and she's having a really good time, so she's nice and calm. If she weren't, they would be standing up, and she would, you could definitely tell she wasn't having a good time. All right, so I'm going to say pet, and you can give her a pat on the back.
Okay.
Pet. Awesome. Thank you so much. What do you think? Did that feel pretty cool?
It felt so cool. How old is she?
She is just turned a year this spring, so she's going to be 2 in April. Okay. So she's still a very young porcupine. She's almost full grown, so they're kind of a smaller animal.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks. That was a great question.
Thank you. Oh, she's so cute.
All right. Well, I think we're going to move on to meeting one of our next animals that we have out, if that's all right.
Yes.
Okay. Well, heading on over to Marissa while she's getting it out. You might stop in with Jen really quick, but we're going to meet Peterson.
So one thing we wanted to do today is give you guys a chance to see a variety of the animals you might get to meet during an ambassador adventure. So each ambassador adventure lasts for about 30 minutes, and we'll have just one of these species, so you really get a chance to get to know each individual. But today you're going to meet one of my favorites, and that is our tamandua, or the lesser anteater. And Peterson is hanging out with Marissa on the stump.
All right, so very similar to PJ, Peterson has that really cool tail, and he's going to use it for the exact same purpose, which is grabbing onto branches, helping him climb and survive up in the trees. Peterson is also found in the very same part of the world as PJ, so he's found in South and Central America. and he is a tree-dwelling species. Thus, he also spends his time on the ground. So Peterson is going to do what he does best, and he is going to climb around on this tree. He's going to scent mark. So for those of you at home, you cannot smell it, but if you are here for this adventure, you're going to get a whiff of what a tamandua smells like, and it smells just like a skunk. So that's a really important adaptation for them to be able to communicate with other anteaters in the wild. Unfortunately, fortunately for us, we always know what the tamanduas have been in the building, so it's a very potent smell. So we did also put our female tamandua smell on this tree, which is a really great way to offer enrichment for them because they are such scent-driven animals. It's just a really great way to provide scent enrichment for them. It's going to be preoccupied. But enrichment is going to be a great way for something that you might experience us training and offering things for our animals during one of these programs. We can show off a lot of their really great adaptations. So offering ways for the animals to climb, offering ways for them to scent mark, or showing how these animals forage for food in the wild. So if you get a close-up look at Peterson too, he's using those powerful claws. Now in the wild, they're going to rip open ant and termite mounds to find their food because these guys, of course, are anteaters. So that's going to be their primary source of food in the wild. All sorts of tasty bugs. So they're going to rip that open with their big claws and then use their super long tongue, which is a foot long, to slurp up all their bugs. But I think Peterson's got his priorities straight right now, and that is scent marking. And that is totally fine. You know, he gets all the choice that he needs when he's out at a training session. If this is what he wants to do and show off this really cool behavior, then he gets to do that. Of course, we do have all of his tasty treats with Marissa's got really great bugs for him to forage for. He's got mealworms and waxworms. And another really great favorite of anteaters is an avocado. In the wild, they will try to eat ripe fruits that fall on the ground, and things like avocados are a really great source of food for them. He's definitely one of our busiest guys here at the zoo. He's always up to something. Do you have any questions about Peterson? You know, he's just really fun to
I
watch.
know, he's so cute. How long is this thing?
It's a foot long, so you know it's like that ruler you'd be using at school. So it's really impressive when it comes out. It's really cute when we wake him up in the morning. He opens his mouth, which only opens to the size of a pencil, and he yawns, and he puts his tongue out all the way, and then he slurps it back up. So it's kind of a really cool thing that we get to experience when we take care of him every day. So hopefully it's something that he might do on a program also. But we do have a way when he's not scent marking, and we can show off how long his tongue is, and we have some bugs at the end of a tube, and he can slurp that up.
Does he have a favorite food?
A favorite food? Avocado and waxworms are his two favorite foods. Yep. And so can feeding is also a part of our program that you might get to experience when he's not busy doing this. Because he doesn't have any teeth and he has that really sticky tongue, it's such a cool thing to get him to eat bugs off your hand. Yeah, it's so fun to see them do these natural behaviors. All right, well, I think we're just going to let Peterson hang out and do this, and we're going to move on to our next animal. I'm going to let Jen kind of chauffeur you over there, and I'm going to help Marissa out with Peterson. Thanks.
All right, well, hopefully we have some good questions coming in that we can answer at the end of this program, but I just wanted to let you guys know one of the really cool things about an ambassador adventure is that each of the animals that we work with are actually trained and taught to interact with people and be a positive experience both for our guests as well as for the animal. So they actually get a lot of choice. As you can see, sometimes they choose to do something different than we had planned, but that's okay. Choice is really important for them. And we're going to get to see a little bit about that with our next animal, and that is a Cape porcupine. Norman is actually going to have some free time to roam around, which is also a really fun part of an ambassador adventure. So one thing we should probably mention, everybody can see the really long quills on Norman, is just like Maggie mentioned with the lesser anteater and the prehensile-tailed porcupine, he cannot shoot his quills. So we want to make sure everybody knows the program will be really fun and really safe for everybody, including for Norman. Christy's tapping on the ground to get his attention and let him know where to come so he can get a treat.
We use that type of cue for Norman because Norman has really poor vision, so he can't always see what we're asking him to do. So we have to be really creative when we're working with all different types of animals. So sometimes we might put scent on a target, or we use something like a loud stomp to get his attention from across the room because he might not be able to see where we are, but he can definitely hear where we are. So that's definitely a different way that we work personally with Norman as a species that has poor vision. And on top of it, Norman actually has, doesn't have great vision on top of being a species that doesn't have great vision. So she's also gonna tap this big target. We use an actual extra large target for Norman. He might also be a little distracted on top of all of this because we have really, so maybe some treats that PJ dropped on the ground too. So he's gonna help us clean up after that session that we just finished over there. Yep. But he's also going to check out all the scents and smells that the other animals left behind because smell is their really important sense that they use in the wild.
Can you choose which animal you're going to meet at the animal, Animal Ambassador Adventure?
Ambassador Adventure, that is a really great question, and we're going to say no to that for a couple of different reasons. The most important reason is animal welfare is our #1 priority, and we want to make sure that each animal ambassador is ready and excited about having that interaction that day. So sometimes, just like we might have a day that we don't feel like going to school or don't feel like going to work, we have days where the animals might choose to stay in their enclosure. And so we don't want guests to be disappointed if they ask for a specific animal and that animal is choosing to stay in its home enclosure today. So we will choose the animal that we think is going to be really excited about meeting the guests and is going to make a great program for each of our guests. That's a great question, though. We do also have other species besides the species that you're seeing here today, but we just wanted to give you guys a little sample of what an Animal Ambassador Adventure might include. Something else important to note is that the Ambassador Adventure is going to be twice a day, daily, Memorial Day to Labor Day, but we're actually going to be starting the program on weekends in early May, just so we can make sure that we get everybody used to the new schedule before Memorial Day starts. Oh, this is one of the cool things. We're going to do a photo op. Now, the photo op is obviously probably almost everybody's favorite part of a program. And again, we can't guarantee anything, but our Animal Ambassador staff loves to have great experiences for our guests. So days that we're able to do that, we absolutely will make sure that that happens. The Ambassador Adventure program is set up for 1 to 2 guests, so it's also a really personal experience, which I think is cool. You'll really get a lot of time to ask questions and see some of the enrichment items and get to feel some of the personality of the animals, because they do, even if we have 2 tamanduas, they have very different personalities. So I think that's a really important part of getting to know our ambassadors a little bit more up close and personal.
That was actually the next question I was going to ask. How many people can be at each?
Perfect. Yes, right now it's the same price whether it's for 1 or 2 because that slot is reserved. So we say bring a friend, bring a family member, bring your grandkid, bring your grandmother. Who knows?
Are you still going to be doing daily chats at the nature stage on top of this?
That is our hope. That is definitely our hope and our plan at this point. We are definitely working on some new exciting things for 2024, so that schedule has not been completely worked out, but we definitely still want to be able to offer opportunities for all our guests, whether they have the opportunity to pay for a higher end program like this. So we will be out in the park. I just don't know if we have a schedule for that yet.
All right,
So thank you all so much for tuning in and checking out our new experience that we're providing this spring. I hope if this is an opportunity that you would like to hopefully get as a gift for somebody in advance. As we mentioned, this requires no gift wrapping and a chance to meet one of our extraordinary animal ambassadors. It is truly an experience that we love sharing with them every day, and we're very hopeful to share with you all. All right, thank you all so much, and we hope to see you soon.